Space Station, STEC, how do you read me?
I guess I can. You can hear me. I can hear some voices in the background there.
Hey, André, we read you loud and clear.
Loud and clear, Christian. Good to hear your voice.
And we even see you. I'm here together with a big group of enthusiastic tweeters who are eager to ask questions to you. I'm not wasting time here. But I will ask my first question, the first question myself. Hey, can you tell me how science going up there now and how you're doing with the scientific program? My pet right now.
Well, I'm here in Columbus, and a lot of stuff is done here, but we do science all over the station. And well, a lot of interesting things. You know that, of course, science is a long process, a long duration process. So it takes a lot of time before the final results are known. I'm doing all kind of experiments with the immune system, blood pressure, but also, for example, with an experiment like GeoFlow, where we look even at a big thing like the Earth and see how movements inside of the Earth are taking place, and perhaps this has implications later on for predictions of, for example, earthquakes. So there's a lot of different kinds of experiments that I'm doing, and yeah, I look forward to the results, but the final results will take some time.
Okay, going ahead with the first question here.
Nick Deakin from the UK. My question is, psychologically, being able to see the Earth so close on a long duration flight is really important. How can this be substituted on a Mars mission?
Interesting question, because most people think, well, the space station is 400 kilometers away. Well, first of all, most of the time it's, say, 12, 13,000 kilometers away because it's on the other side of the planet. But what separates us more than this distance is the speed. We have an enormous speed of 28,000 kilometers an hour, and that is the difficult thing. That's why we just can't go up and down as we want. That requires a lot of energy to stay in orbit. So, but in case we need to, we could, yeah, easily is a big word, but we could go back with the Soyuz in a matter of hours if needed. So, in that sense, you can say we are not that isolated. Also with communication, I think to prepare for a Mars mission, there are a lot of other means to check that. The ESA organized the Mars 500 together with the Russian Space Agency. And that was very interesting to see, yeah, what happens in a psychological sense with people who are locked up for so long. But another equivalent could be people living in the South Pole. During my stay, we had a talk with people who are on Concordia, which is a European base on the South Pole, and they are really isolated. They cannot be rescued. They cannot just go in a few hours and be safe in a warm place. So there are other places where you can do a better comparison.
Hi, this is Erik from Blokland, and I'm wondering, what does the ISS sound like? Is it noisy?
Well, that's an interesting question, because I just did sound level measurements in the Dragon, in the new module that's here for a week. I mean, it leaves already in a few days, and sound levels are different. Depends where you are. There are places that are pretty loud. For example, if you run through the treadmill, that is a very loud device. Other places are pretty quiet, like our sleeping quarters are pretty quiet. The second is actually quiet. I just mentioned that. Russian segment is a bit more noisy. So, yeah, it depends on where you are. But it varies from 50 to 70 dB, and in some cases, if you're close to a device, to a machine, then it can be higher as well.
Hello, André. Ron Overbeek from Groningen. I would like to ask you, what has been the influence of being able to use the social media during your mission, your second mission, in comparison to your first mission?
That's a question I have to ask you because I understand that that there's a lot of impact because of Twitter, because of the weblog, and that was different indeed on my first flight, and that was also 11 days. Now I have really the time things and send pictures down, and so I think it has a big effect. What I understand, I mean, in the first flight was already there was already a lot of media attention, but this time seems to be even bigger. Now I'm pretty isolated. I'm talking to a camera, so you really have to imagine how many people are watching you when you float through the station, or if you have a PO event. So for us, it's different. We are among us in a small area, and on ground there's a lot of people. So I get a lot of information from little pieces of film and pictures and emails of the impact on the ground. And I think the social media made this very, very big. Not only in Holland, but all over the world. I see the tweets coming back. So that's very interesting. I think this is very important. And a lot of astronauts have their account and are active. And I think, yeah, this is the future, and I think it has a good effect to make people aware of what's doing and where we are.
I'm Mirjam de Graaf. Your pictures also have an amazing impact on the ground. Before you left, what was the picture that you definitely wanted to take, and did you already succeed?
Nice one. There is a little island in the South Pacific where I married because I wanted to marry the other side of the planet after my first flight. So we did, but that was not easy to find because the Pacific is pretty big, and your trek has to go right over. It has to be daylight, no clouds. So, but finally I managed, and of course then there's a lot of these little atolls you have to recognize. So we have an atlas here, and I was trying to compare the shape of the atoll and where we exactly were. But I finally managed to get this little speck of land in the Pacific.
Hi André, this is Remco Timmermans from Nijmegen. I was wondering, do you think humans will ever be able to spend a lifetime in space rather than 6 months as you're doing right now?
Ja, Remco, goed je te horen na al het tweetberichten. Ik denk van wel. Ik leef nu ook in de toekomst, jullie leven in de toekomst van de mensen van vroeger. We gebruiken vreemde materialen, plastics, we hebben elektriciteit, we hebben vliegtuigmotoren, ruimtevaart, mobieltjes. Als je nog niet zo lang geleden, zeg 100 jaar geleden, met mobieltjes stond te praten, dan kwam je waarschijnlijk op de brandstapel terecht.
André, could you repeat your question? You answer in
De
English.
science fiction van nu, de science fiction van vroeger is het de werkelijkheid van nu. En ja, over een paar honderd jaar zal het totaal anders zijn. We kunnen ons dat niet eens voorstellen hoe dat eruit zal zien. En ik verwacht dat de mensheid zich gewoon zal verspreiden, zoals we ook over de aardbol zijn gegaan, gewoon ook het heelal in. En ja, op een gegeven moment zal dat best kunnen voorkomen, dat mensen gewoon geboren worden en sterven en nooit op de aarde zijn geweest. Het klinkt allemaal als science fiction, maar zoals ik al zei, wij leven nu in de science fiction van vroeger.
So, Andrea, just please speak only in English.
So I can repeat it quickly in English. Yeah, I think that in the future things will be possible that we don't even think of now. We live now in the science fiction of the people, and it will happen in the future that people spread out through our solar system and maybe even beyond. You never know what kind of technology we are going to develop, and I expect that it will happen that people born and will die in space without ever being on the planet Earth.
Hello André, this is Babette van Veen. My question is, have you gained a different perspective on life and our day-to-day problems, and what would you change upon your return?
Well, that happened already after my first flight. When I came back, I thought, okay, this is a beautiful planet, but also fragile. It's pretty limited. The resources are limited, and so I thought, okay, I would like to assist to do something to make clear to the people that it is a limited planet, a fragile planet, and that's why I approached the World Wildlife Fund, for example, to see if I could do things for them. So I will continue that to make that it is a nice and beautiful planet, but the resources are limited. Be it air, be it rainforest, be it fish in the oceans, etc. We have to make sure that we give the planet a chance to recover, so the next generations can also enjoy it.
Hi, I'm Séverine from France. If there's something you never had the opportunity to do in space and really want to experiment, something you consider as unexplored yet?
Yeah, well, what I am doing here is, of course, being the eyes and hands for scientists on the ground. So there's a lot of smart people thinking up all these experiments, and that's the major task that we're doing here. Of course, I look for myself also to the future. What will be interesting to investigate, to find out if what's possible. Well, one of the things that interests me, and it's also a bit in the area of Christen, radiation is of course an interesting topic. We see the flashes now and then of radioactive particles that hit the retina in the eye. These kind of measurements are being done now to see what kind of particles these are and compare them with what we'll see. If we go to Mars, for example, we have the problem that we are not protected by the magnetic field of the Earth. So I like to find out what can we do against that threat. And one of the things that I heard once was to have a huge magnet to deflect the charge part. And that will be a very interesting experiment to see how that can be done for real with a bit of a complete spaceship and deflect the charged particles. It's a big one.
Hi, my name is Daniel. I'm from Spain, and my question is if you have any psychological effects when you come back to Earth, and if you receive or some lessons about it, and also about human factors living in space.
Well, this is one of them. I don't want to go back to the Earth because microgravity is much more fun and it's much more pleasant. You are on ground, you get a lot of training on equipment, so on experiments, on hardware, and you have a little training, at least in Europe, on microgravity, but that is a thing that you really have to learn if you come in space. So in the beginning, people are also motion sick, say seasick, so that's something that you have to adapt when you come to space. Now another aspect is of course that you are living and working in a confined area. Although it's pretty big, the station is pretty big, it can happen that you work a whole day in a module without seeing your colleagues. But there is training for that, for working together on Earth. So we have, say, outdoor training. There is training in caves, canyoning, winter survival training. We have water survival training. So both technical from what you have to do to save your life, but also to see how you interact with other people and how you train to keep the atmosphere on board. So there is indeed, say, psychological training to be in space for half a year. At the moment, if I'm right, one of the new recent astronauts, Tim Peake, for example, going underwater for several weeks with a group of other people, do a similar training like that in an underwater module.
Hi, Andre. My name is Henning from Germany. Being able to see the planet Earth from above, what do you think about mankind's efforts to live sustainably?
Well, if I go around the planet at night, then it's beautiful, but it also means it's pretty full. Of course, there are a lot of empty places as well, but there's a lot of city lights and a lot of people. And the Earth's population is growing and growing and growing, and the Earth doesn't get really bigger. So there is, of course, an issue there with how we deal with the resources that we have. We know that the oceans are getting emptier and emptier, rainforests are disappearing. We have to be very careful with the natural resources, and if you live in a certain place, you probably don't see it straight away. If you are in a jungle, it looks like there's a limited amount of trees or a limited amount of air. From space, you have another perspective. Before you know it, you pass the Amazon, and the air is just a thin layer. And so, if we want to have a nice planet for our children and grandchildren, etc., then we really have to start thinking about it, and also make life for people good. So it's not that we in the rich world can say, okay, you cannot do that anymore. So we have to find a solution for whole Earth's population, because everybody wants to feed his children and wants to have a nice life. So this is a serious issue where we have to work on all. And at this moment, we have, of course, in Rio de Janeiro, a big conference on sustainability coming up, and so that's very important. I hope everybody puts a lot of effort in there to make Earth a nice planet for the future as well.
Hey Andre, this is Simon from Germany. You're an experienced astronaut and microgravity researcher, but there are still microgravity effects in your everyday space life that totally surprise you?
Yes, actually, lately I started to lose more things than in the beginning, because if you think that you're totally at home, then there still things happen. So I lost some reading classes, for example, after 5 months. Luckily, my colleague found it back today, actually, and that, yeah, you find things back. Near the ventilation, with inlets where the airflow goes to. But it can also happen that you look at something when it's floating actually in front of you, because you're doing something, your attention is attracted, so you do something else. You look around and it's gone, and you really don't know where it is anymore, and that can create some funny situations. But in other cases, it can also be frustrating, because it might be an important cable that you need for an experiment or something else. And all astronauts have this problem, and that you lose things. So it's in that sense, it's tiring to be in weightless condition, because you always have to watch your stuff, always close zippers, put Velcro on things, and try
André,
to
I have to
not to lose
cut you off there.
important things. So it's some things still surprise me. Yes.
André, thanks a lot. We have enjoyed it very much. It's just 15 seconds left. And from everybody here, some 80 people, I hope you can hear the shouting, the applause. Wonderful time and great to see you. See you soon back on ground in a once and a half.